Hey, Sully, how are you?
I want you to bring your best Trevor Maddich impersonation here and get fired up for us.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do.
Man, Mike, so much to talk about. We haven't even really touched on soccer and field hockey too much, but there's some incredible races going on in the Cape Atlantic League in those sports, and cross country is going to start heating up as well. But there's just too much football to talk about. I mean,
yeah,
Holy Spirit last night, Pleasantville, Buna. I mean, what a Friday night!
Yeah, just a great night of a great night of football. And I kind of had my own interesting story last night. I'm on my way out to Shalleck to see the 2-0 Greyhounds play the 2-0 Shalleck Cougars. My car breaks down in Mays Landing on the way to the game. First time in 20-something years that's actually happened. So I called AAA and I had the car towed back to Hal, and I'm like, well, what do I do about the game? But I said to myself, hey, the Greyhounds are 2-0 for the first time in 14 years. I can't miss the opportunity to see them play. So I call an Uber. I Uber from Mays Landing to wherever Shalleck is located. I have to be the first guy in the history of the world to maybe, Uber to Pittsgrove Township. The Uber driver is following his, GPS. Next thing I know, we're going down a gravel road in Pittsgrove Township where we emerge in the back of Shalleck, and I get there in plenty of time to see, Samir Jones of, Pleasantville play quarterback, run for 2 touchdowns and throw for 1, and the Greyhounds are now, 3-0 for the first time in what seems like forever.
So what'd you call Weinberg for a ride home?
No, actually, I got to give a shout out to Mike Rodano, a fellow reporter, gave me a ride to a Washington Township McDonald's. My wife took me up from there, and I got home in plenty of time to watch USC lose at 2:00 in the morning last night. So just a full day of football yesterday.
Wow, that's an incredible story, man.
Exactly.
Holy cow! Hey, that's dedication right there, man.
That's the story. That might be the story of the year, right there. But again, well worth it. Pleasantville played a great game, on a great night of football. You mentioned, the Holy Spirit game, the Buna Regional game, and Pleasantville, overcoming adversity, down twice in the second half. Twice Shalleck came back to take the lead, and twice Pleasantville responded. And Coach Chris Sacco, in his 3rd season out of Pleasantville, we've talked about him a lot before on the show and the great job he's done, said he didn't know if his teams, could have come back like that before, but they certainly did last night. And I never saw a happier team and a really happier, community. Pleasantville had a decent amount of fans and parents out there, and they were just so happy to have some success. And like I kind of wrote today in the the press of AC.com, Samir Jones clinched the victory with a 63-yard touchdown run, and as he was heading towards the end zone, the Pleasantville sideline just exploded, and winning football games is a lot of fun, especially when you haven't done a lot of it, in the past, 15 years.
Mike, were you surprised to see Jones there at quarterback? I know they have LaQuay Adhill. I guess they moved him out to wide receiver.
Yeah, Samir Jones is a tremendous athlete. He played some quarterback at Mainland Regional last year before transferring to Pleasantville for this season. So Coach Chris Sacco had said during the week that, Adhill was they were going to move Adhill around. Of course, Adhill played quarterback last year and did a great job, helping begin the Pleasantville resurgence at 4-6. Samir Jones made his 2nd start at quarterback. He started last week against Riverside. And he looked good. Apparently he struggled a little bit against Riverside, even though Pleasantville won that game like 57-0 or 57-6. But last night, left-handed kid, good speed, threw some nice passes. I think he completed 6 of 10 for 100 and something yards and ran 13 times for 173 yards. And when you put Samir Jones at quarterback, and they still have some packages for Adhill to play that position, but it just gives them another playmaker out there. So now you got to worry about Adhill, who's an excellent runner and is speedy and catch the football. You got to worry about Samir Jones at quarterback. You got to worry about Mohamed Toure at fullback. And it just, it gives Pleasantville. You got to worry about Elijah Glover at wide receiver. So it just gives Pleasantville another sort of playmaker that the defense has to worry about.
And we didn't even mention Jabril Shakur, man. This kid, he doesn't miss any days in the weight room, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's another standout player. So, there's no mystery to Pleasantville's success when you see them play. They put the time in. As I said, wrote in the paper this week, a story that appeared in Friday's paper, previewing the game. Sacco has come in. He's put the time in, him and his staff. They have a vision, and they're sort of executing the plan or the process, as people like to say nowadays, and they have players. And now, they're 3-0, and you look at Holy Spirit at 3-1 after a tremendous comeback win last night. And you have two teams coming off big wins about to play next Friday night. And, that's kind of what high school football is all about.
Yeah, Mike, I guess 2 years ago you never would have thought Week 5 Pleasantville at Holy Spirit would be maybe the game of the week.
Yeah, I mean, the stat that I like right now, Pleasantville is 3-0. Well, in the 5 years before Sacco took over, they were 3-47.
Wow!
So that doesn't tell you where they've come from, and give credit to the Cape Atlantic League and the West Jersey Football League. Obviously, they've been helped by the move to the West Jersey Football League, the Cape Atlantic League's merger with the West Jersey Football League, which has allowed them to play teams of similar enrollment, of similar, let's say status of where they are in the program. It's allowed them to go in and rebuild their program. The WJFL, will realign next season. There'll be new divisions, new crossover games. Pleasantville, because of their success, will probably get a tougher schedule, but that's what they want. And, they have been able to have rebuilt their program, attract more kids, attract more interest. So they've taken advantage of the opportunity that they've gotten. And like you said, 3-47 in the 5 years before Sacco took over. Now they're 3-0 and playing Holy Spirit. And obviously Spirit would be favorite in that game, but obviously, a big game next Friday night, a big game, it's just fun to be involved in games like that. Those types of games attract interest, attract kids to your program.
Talking with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. And, Mike, I was out at Holy Spirit last night taking on Delsea, and what a crazy game, wild finish. Holy Spirit comes down from 14 down in the final quarter, forces overtime. They get the big touchdown in overtime. And Josh Zamat really kind of a game that sort of cements his status among Holy Spirit fans. I mean, they knew how good he was coming in, but it was almost like one of those games like, now he's one of us, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I mean, transferred over from St. Augustine Prep and have played well so far this season. And a big week for Josh. Of course, he commits to Stony Brook on a 1AA scholarship earlier in the week, and then he goes out there and just has a tremendous game against Delsea Regional. And like you said, I mean, obviously everybody at Spirit, knows how good Josh is, his ability to run and throw the football. Her teams, with the ability to run and throw. Really sets them apart. But if there are any doubters out in Upseekin, there are no doubters now. Just a great effort over a really gutsy Delsea team. Down, what were they down? 2 touchdowns with less than 5 minutes to play and coming back and winning in overtime. Just a tremendous victory for Holy Spirit, and a victory that maybe they needed. There's a big difference between 3-1 and 2-2. They had the loss to St. Joe earlier in the season where they faded in the second half of that game, and maybe if they lose last night, you start thinking maybe there's some doubts about the Spartans. But to wake up on a Saturday morning 3-1 instead of 2-2, it's only the difference of a game, but it's actually kind of a world of difference in the world of high school football and playoff PowerPoints and all that good stuff.
And, Mike, one of the things that really impressed me the most about Josh Zamat was last guy off the field. They're about to turn the lights out, and he's there taking selfies and photos with some youth players, the moms of these little 8 and 9-year-olds out there. Hey, can we get a picture with you? Yeah, sure, no problem. He's out there and talking to every reporter that was there. There's about 5-6 reporters on hand, so it just kind of shows you what kind of character he has.
Yeah, he's a great kid, a very well-spoken kid, and if you win a game like that, you want to take all the pictures you can because that's the one you want to remember and document the rest of your life. So, when you lose a game like that, you want to get off the field as quickly as possible. When you win a game like that, I wouldn't be surprised if he's still out there thinking about, the last couple of minutes of that fourth quarter and that overtime period.
But really kind of shows you what high school sports is all about, particularly football, because when you see these youth kids and it kind of just a quick reminder of how the high school quarterback of your local team is so revered by the youth players and the parents of these kids, and to see him go out there and really be available to these kids is a really neat thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it over the years with a lot of different athletes. I've seen high school kids sign autographs and stuff like that, and you kind of say, wait a minute here, what's a high school kid doing signing an autograph? But you forget, you're exactly right. When you're 8, 9, 10 years old and you go to one of those games, especially a setting like I'm sure was at Holy Spirit last night, like a setting that was at Shell, like, these kids can seem bigger than life to 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. And before you can aspire to be anything, everybody wants to be the big player or the quarterback of their high school football team. And so, that's what that's all about right there.
Great stuff. As always, Mike, we appreciate you coming on a few minutes early. We got to hit the break here, but thanks again, as always, and have a great weekend, buddy.
I hope whoever's coming on at 9 a.m. upholds the tradition. I'll talk to you later.
We're trying to get Lee Dawson if he's awake, so.
All right, good enough. See you guys later.
Thanks, Mike. That was Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City. We're going to take